So we're going to try to find some least common denominators for some fractions, but unlike normal fractions, these fractions have exponents in them. So before we get started on this, let's take a look at an easier problem that you may have seen in your time in school.
Okay.
Let's say we had 1 over 4, 1 over, I don't know, 3, and 1 over pick a number.
6.
6. That's a perfect number. All right, so if we're looking for a least common denominator, we need to find a multiple of 4 that is also a multiple of 3, which is also a multiple of 6. In this case, 12. 12 goes, all 3 of these numbers go into 12. Well, nothing changes once you have variables. The process is still essentially the same. So here we have 5, 15, and 10. What goes into what multiple do 5, 15, and 10 all go into?
5. 30.
They all go into 30. They all go into 30. So we know 30 is going to be in our least common denominator. So then we're going to take a look at our variables. We have x squared, and just plain x, and x squared. What do all 3 of these go into?
X squared?
X squared, right, because x squared and x squared, well, they're already the same. And x goes into x squared. So we know we have an x squared in our least common denominator. Finally, we have no y's, a y, and a y. So what is going to be our least common denominator with a y?
Y.
Just plain y. And so our least common denominator for this group of fractions is just 30x squared y, because x squared, or 5x squared goes into it, 15xy goes into it, and 10x squared y also does. Simple. So let's take a look at a problem. Now this is more similar to what you've seen before when finding least common denominators. We don't have any variables, we just have numbers. So we have 8 and 6. What numbers do 8 and 6 both go into?
24.
24. So our least common denominator here will just be 24. But it's not really enough just to find the least common denominator. Really, we want to express each one of these fractions as a function of their least common denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it down here because we know that that's going to be our least common denominator. Same for our 24. And so let's take a look at our first fraction. We have, and it would be helpful if I'm on pen. So we have 3 over 5x squared. What do I need to multiply the denominator by so that it'll end up being 30x squared y?
Wouldn't it just be like 6x squared y?
Well,
I mean, just 6x.
Well, we'll have to multiply 5 times 6, right? 5 times 6 is 30. So we're going to have to multiply this by 6.
Wouldn't it be 6xy?
6 over 6, because you can't, you're multiplying by 1, and 6 over 6 is equal to 1. Do I need to multiply anything to x squared to get x squared?
No.
No. X squared is already x squared. Do I need to multiply 5x squared by anything to get a y?
Yes.
I need to multiply. So I need to multiply by y over y. Okay? If I look at the middle fraction, we have 4 over 15xy. So what am I going to have to multiply this fraction by so that I end up with the common denominator?
15x.
So 15 times something is 30.
I mean 2x.
So we're going to have to multiply both by 2, the numerator and the denominator by 2. What do I have to multiply x by to get x squared?
X.
X. Do I have to multiply anything by?
Nope.
No. Okay. So now we can look at our last fraction. And we have 5 over 10 x squared y. What plain number do I need to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by?
3.
3. So we have a 3 and a 3. Do I need to multiply anything to get x squared here? No. Do I need to multiply anything to get y?
No.
No. Okay. So now it's time to multiply all the numerators together and all the denominators together. And we'll have 3 new fractions that all have a common denominator. So we have 3 times 6y. What is 3 times 6y?
18y.
Get 18y. And when I multiply the denominators, I get my common denominator, right? So I have 30x squared y. So now 4 times 2x is?
8.
There you go, 8x. And
The
same denominator. And finally, here we go. 5 times 3 is?
15.
Over
The same.
common denominator. So the reason why this skill is important is because when you add and subtract fractions, you must have common denominators. You need to convert your fraction to have a common denominator, an equivalent fraction that has the same denominator, and then you can subtract and add. So that's why you have to go through this first. So, man, Connor was loud.
Yes.
All right. So same idea here. You try to beat me to the answer because I'm going to be going slow. You can go fast here. Try to beat me here. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't look outside. So we have x minus 1 over 8. And what do I need to multiply it by to get the common denominator? Well, it's the common denominator is 24. You're trying to beat me.
Wait, 24?
Yeah, 24 is
Oh,
like.
you need a 3.
So it's multiply the numerator by 3, multiply the denominator by 3. So then we have x minus, oh, that doesn't look okay. There we go. So we have x minus 3 over 6. And we're going to multiply it by 4 over 4. So here we need to distribute the 3. So we'll get 3x minus 3 over 24. Distribute the 4. So you get 4x minus 12. And that is all over 24. So that is how you find least common denominators.
That's it.
That's it. And convert fractions to equivalent fractions with least common denominators.